Hi, I'm Corden C, and today I'm playing Tharsis. Now, I quite like this game, but I find it hard to recommend to people because now I enjoy it, but for the first few hours, I didn't. It's very hard, and there's a few issues in the way the game is designed that I think make it hard to get into. But at the same time, that just increases its replayability. It's just a matter of whether you get through those first few hours to the point where you understand it. Anyway, let's get going. Firstly, there's many different types of characters, and you can unlock skull faces, which is actually quite thematic when you play the game. And you do various things to unlock the extra characters. I'm going to get rid of Alison because she's not so useful, and replace with Joy because those assists, they're going to be useful later. Now, the basic idea is that you're on your way to Mars and problems occur. So now it's just a matter of trying to survive as long as you can. And as long as you can is often not very long. So the problems in the game are various sort of accidents, and you've got 10 weeks to get to Mars, so you've got to survive 10 weeks of various disasters occurring, repair your ship and get as much as your crew as possible. First thing you're going to notice is that the game actually uses dice, well, not real dice, but computer dice. And there seems to be a whole physics model in there. It's quite nice, and this immediately reminds you of a board game, and it's obviously inspired by board games. And when I played it, my first thought was a game called Dark Moon, where you're fixing things, this time on a space station, by rolling dice, and when you get above a certain number, you fix it. So the basic idea is each problem has a score here you have to get over. So here it's 8. And you have to roll dice and get over 8 across the dice to solve it. And various characters can put in their dice. And then you can use the extra dice for extra things like research projects or regaining dice. Because every time you roll your dice, you've used it up. The re-rolling doesn't count, but every turn, when the first time you roll your dice, you lose. You have one less dice for next time, and something happens to put them back. You can also put your dice on various activities, various things that the modules can do. Regain dice, harvest food, and the like, health recovery. There's also, so here we can see that we are trying to improve the hull, which is currently up in the top left. You can see we've got 3 hull. We're going to roll another 3 here so we can get a bit of hull back. And we're not lucky, so oh well. Goes into other things then. If you don't fix the problems, then they have an effect, which will often be things like, well, the most common one is it will remove hull, and they'll still be there for you the next turn. So if I hadn't fixed those, next turn there will be more. And this is a pretty good start. I've got strong hull, everything's fixed, I'm doing pretty well. And I'll talk more about the luck later. So after you've fixed everything, or not fixed everything, when everyone's had their go, there's various projects. You can give food to people, and you carry on. Sort of personal projects and then things like that. So there's a lot of rules here, a lot of things you can do. So it can all get quite complex, and you have to try and juggle them around. And I think that's one of the advantages to using dice here. Well, firstly, I like board games, so I have no problem with it. But secondly, people have a sort of most people are used to dice. Most people understand dice, so they have a kind of intuitive understanding of what's going to happen when you roll the dice and what sort of numbers you're likely to get. And that's probably quite helpful here. because there's so many things you can spend dice on, and you need particular numbers, so it can be very you need to actually understand what's going on with the probability, and dice, I think using dice helps that. The other thing to notice is, just to make it a little harder, is when you're rolling the dice, certain dice may have bad effects. So if you roll a certain number, like there, if I rolled a 2 on the previous one, it would have caused injury and lost health. And you see on this one, if I roll a 2 or a 3, which I've rolled on there, then that means you couldn't re-roll it. And the way you get around that is by using assists, which essentially take out those bad rolls. And they make things just even more difficult. And it can be quite overwhelming, just the number of things you can do and the number of problems, and just sort of piles up and up and up. And I think that's kind of the point of the game. I guess the idea is to make you feel like you're trapped on a almost certainly doomed spaceship in the middle of nowhere with no help. And it succeeds in that, I think. But I'm not sure it really wanted to succeed. It makes the game quite dark, trying to survive. I mean, as we go along, you'll probably see the character portraits start to have an increasing look of despair or horror on their faces. This is not a happy game. You're not going to be, oh yay, we've done it. Even having reached the end a couple of times and seen there's at least two different types of endings, there may be more. It's not even a happy ending, or at least the ones that I saw weren't happy endings. So it's not a happy game. You're not going to be rewarded and feel great. Especially as later on you're probably going to have to go through that very standard trope of cannibalism, eating people in order to regain dice. Because as your dice start to decrease and the problems incur, one good way of getting more dice is to essentially eat people. And that's quite common in these sort of games. Still a bit dark, but quite common. But no, this Tharsis goes a little bit further than that. It goes further than that by having you actually able to kill crew members for their meat. So that's really, really dark. And again, I'm going really well in this game. And you saw there I also decreased stress, because the lower your stress, I'm told, the better your side projects at the end will be. So everyone's got low stress, so there should have been some very good projects. I've got tons of food, so I've got great hull, I've got quite a few dice, I've got low stress. This is looking pretty good for me. But as you see, it's just more and more bad things occur. And by the way, I think this is on easy, so it gets much harder than this. So yes, I guess that's the other thing about this game. It is super hard. It takes me skipping most of the little story bits in between, because the story is about you just being confused and scared about your trip to Mars. There's a bit more to it than that, but I don't want to give anything away. And yeah, it takes me about half an hour to 45 minutes to play a game. Half an hour if you're going to all die, which is the most common result. 45 minutes to an hour if you're doing well and you actually make it all the way to the end. And most of the time when you play this game, it's always on the edge of completely falling apart. It's always just on the edge of just, you can't possibly win this. Although, strangely, this game I'm doing incredibly well. Although we'll see how we go with this event. 27 health, let's see how it goes. can see from the way it plays that using the dice, there's a huge amount of luck involved in how the dice roll, and it gets worse than that. Really, it's this game is heavily random number generator dominated. You have to sit down and pray to the RNG gods before you start that you have good luck, and okay, very often you won't, and that I think is a bit of an issue because the RNG effect is so huge. There's two ways of going. You can either make it so there's lots and lots of random number generation, and it balances out over a large number of rolls, although I'm doing incredibly well and lucky here. Now, I can't say well, it's luck really. Or you have it super short, so the game's over very quickly and it doesn't matter that you got screwed by the random number generator. Because you're starting another game a couple of minutes later. This game, Tharsis, is sort of stuck in that in-between zone, where it's long enough that it's a significant chunk of your time that's being dominated by luck, but it's not long enough that the luck will balance out. You know, one bad turn or one bad set of rolls, and that's it. The game is essentially in a downward spiral, and you've got no hope. And you just can't end it quickly. It just sort of drags on as you know it's going to end. Once again, probably nicely thematic, and I think I love the dedication to the theme and making you feel like you're trapped on a doomed spaceship. I just don't know if that's much fun for most people. I'd certainly, after having played this for probably on the order of 8-9 hours, I don't know if I'm going to be playing much more of it after this. I've got to Mars a couple of times. I've seen both endings. I appreciate the gameplay and the design, but yeah, it's very dark. Very dark. You really feel like you're progressing, and the random number generator will only cause you despair. Okay. Having said that, there is a lot of effort being put in here to making it replayable. Obviously, there's a lot of mechanics, so it takes a long time to master, as do other games. As you go, you unlock new crew members. You unlock special faceplates, so you can turn the crew members into skulls, which there will be soon enough anyway in this game. And there's also various missions, so you try to do it with only one crew member, or try to do it with limited food, or the things like that. So there's a lot of replay. If you enjoy it, there's a lot of replay value here. Yeah, but it is just incredibly unforgiving. As I said, this is easy, but normal is just insane. I haven't even got close to the finish of the game on normal. Can't believe how hard it must be on actually if you play it on hard. So, in conclusion, I would say that this is a good game. It's an interesting game, the way it's designed. It's a good game, but it's a little bit flawed in the issue of this random number generator and how it dominates the game, and also that the theme they've chosen may just not be much fun because it is so dark and so despairing. Whereas, I mean, it's in bright colours and everything looks nice, but when you think about it, it's dark. It's just dark. So yes, that's my review of Tharsis, and I've hoped you like to see me playing this. I might continue playing because this is actually one of the best runs I've ever had. I don't think I've ever been this successful. I can only assume my luck is about to turn incredibly bad very soon. So I might just leave it running, so you can, if you're interested, you can see if I make it to Mars or if the inevitable occurs and my luck turns and it all just completely falls apart like it does the vast majority of times in this game. Okay, bye.
A transmission arrived, not from Earth, but from Mars, from Tharsis. An impossible signal from an impossible source. Is this what we're searching for? Who's transmitting this signal? Was there another mission to Mars? One sent before ours? Or is the message coming from someone else?
You